Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is Chani here, and I am super excited for today's video. As you guys know, I'm always very excited as to my videos. As you can see, we have Sane, right? Did I pronounce it well? Sane,
Sane. It's actually short
Sane, yeah.
for Siwe. Saneli Siwe
Oh,
is my full name. And then
Sane.
Sane is the switch.
Anyway, let's go with Sane, right? So I do have Sane here today. She is a South African who is happily married to a Nigerian and recently made her debut to Lagos, Nigeria. So hence why she's here, and she's going to be sharing her experience with us so far, just taking us through her journey, getting familiar with Nigerian culture, and just visiting Nigeria basically. And definitely, this is something that you all are going to be interested in. So please just stick around from the very start to the very end, okay? So with this being said, people, let's just hop right into the video. Just can you tell us your name and where you're from? Your full
Okay, so
name and where you're from?
Saneli Siwe, Igwanugo. Sane for short, like I had said before. I'm
Yeah.
originally from Durban in South Africa, so I'm a Zulu girl. Yeah. A mom, a wife, a sister, a friend, a wife. Yeah.
What did you know about Nigeria before being exposed to its people? Like growing up, what were the things you knew about Nigeria before getting to know Nigerians personally?
I think I got to know like of Nigeria much later in my adulthood because, like I said, I'm
Mhm.
in Durban. So in Durban, there's not really like a good representation of Nigerians in Durban until I moved to Cape Town. Then when I moved to Cape
Mm.
Town, then I became familiar with the people, and I also got married to a Nigerian. So I think as like Nigeria, the place, I didn't hear a lot of good stuff, to be honest, both from South
Yeah.
Africans and from Nigerians. You know, Nigerians, you hear about the heat, the traffic, the government, and all of that stuff. And then from South Africans, you hear about hijacking,
Uh,
kidnapping, and
yeah.
drugs and all of that stuff. But between the two, telling me, positive stuff. There were like a few who would be like, "Yo, it's fun there." Maybe people that had visited there, it's fun there. The people there are nice and all
Yeah.
of that stuff. And I think when I truly thought Nigeria could be a nice place was when the Real Housewives of Abuja came out and Real Housewives
Mm.
of Lagos came out, and I was like, okay, there's something happening here. But
Mm.
besides that, I've always wanted to go to Nigeria. I've always wanted to go to Nigeria from like 2015. Was the first time that I tried to go to Nigeria, but my visa got denied, and I was like, oh my gosh. But also at that time, it was during like the time of xenophobia, so Nigeria was just like not
Nah.
having.
Yeah.
So it was good to eventually come and see for myself, the good,
Yeah.
the bad, everything.
Yeah, everything, definitely. So, what was your family's reaction when you brought this Nigerian man to be your husband? How did they take that information? How did they handle it?
Um, you know, like I said, I'm from Durban.
Durban.
So
Yeah.
we didn't really have much as a family. I don't remember us really having much interaction with any like foreign national. So it was the stereotypical concerns, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
But one thing about my family, they will first, kind of like want to know the person
Mm-hmm.
before, attaching any kind of stereotypical
Stereotype. Yeah.
or like that. So
Yeah.
when my husband eventually wanted to get married to me, we actually went down to Durban and they got to meet him as a person as opposed
Yeah. Not as like the nation, like as a
to
Nigerian. Yeah.
and he's educated. He's got his master's degree here. So it yeah, it really, at the end of the day, it ended up not playing that much of a big part. The only thing I think that was a big shock was the cultural differences, like planning our
Yeah.
traditional wedding, like,
Oh
you know,
yeah.
of that stuff, the food that they eat, and that was like, and the whole money
uh,
spray also was like a shocker to me. They were like, yo,
yeah.
Sane is marrying into a rich family, not knowing that it's just the Nigerian culture,
Wait, yeah.
all of that stuff. So, yeah.
I really do appreciate how like I think the society and that's the where the world is going right now. Parents are being more
Yeah,
open minded and very accepting.
yeah. I think
Okay.
parents are becoming more about like, look, whatever makes you happy type of thing.
Yeah. And that's beautiful. Aside the fact that you got married to a Nigerian and you always wanted to go visit Nigeria, what were the things that you actually wanted to experience in Nigeria? Like the things, the driving forces. Like what were the things you saw and you're like, this is why
Ah,
I want to visit Nigeria? What
I
were those
wanted,
things?
I wanted to see everything. Like
Yeah.
I would try everything. I literally wanted to see everything. I think top of my list was the nightlife. I wanted to see what Nigeria nightlife looks like.
Yeah.
Uh, Besides that, when I went to Nigeria, I actually didn't even have. I knew I also wanted to see an art gallery, which I did. I think those are the only two things that I had in my mind,
Mm.
but as pre-planned. But everything else I planned while I was in Nigeria. So, like, if I'm in
Okay.
Nigeria, I'll be like, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? The
Yeah.
only thing that was in my agenda is not to be indoors. Like, I wanted to see
Yeah.
everything. I
Yeah.
wanted to be everywhere. Like, I just went there with the mentality of being a tourist. Like, I wanted to
Yeah.
explore. Yeah.
Because I mean, why would you travel and then you be indoors? Like, nah, that's meant for home, you
Yeah.
know?
So I did quite a lot of things, and I also traveled around. I went to um, Oba, Anambra. So the purpose of my visit was to
Oh,
meet family because I'm married 8 years this year, but I had
oh,
never
congrats.
physically met them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So video calls and all of that stuff, but I'd never met them. So I also got to go to my husband's village, and then
Hmm.
my church was having a program in Benin. The church that I
Oh,
attend here in Africa
uh,
is a Nigerian church, so they were having a program in Benin, so I also got to go there.
wow.
And then, yeah, I was staying in Lekki, so I was around Lekki, Victoria Island, and Oka or something like that. I can't remember now. But yeah, so I got to go like
Yeah, you
around.
really, yeah, you actually traveled, you toured.
Yeah, I was touring.
So getting to Nigeria, like literally at the airport where you see maybe Eko Nibaje, what were the culture shocks that hit you immediately you stepped into this country? Like what were the cultural differences that you were like, this is actually very shocking.
Yeah, I think there was quite a few. Like there was really quite a few. One of the first things. I mean, I knew Nigeria was hot, right?
Oh,
Because because people had always stressed that
said it.
part
Yeah, yeah.
hard, so hard. But the first thing was literally when the airport doors opened and it was like
Yeah.
like heat, and I was like, okay,
In your face.
I'm in, okay, it's fine. And then there was like the way that things run is quite different from here. The POS system was like
Mm,
a big shock to me because I didn't understand like why we're not using an ATM, like why
mm.
why are we going to people for money, like
Yeah, yeah.
having police stop you at every stop was like why are they stopping?
Why? Yeah.
You know. Another thing was, I mean, there was a lot. The time that I went, also there was no petrol in the petrol
Oh,
stations.
yeah. You were there during the first casting. Oh, that
Yeah,
was
there was.
hard.
Yeah, I think my last week there. Prior to that, I don't know if it was there or if I was not aware, or but the last week or the last 2 weeks, definitely like we would run out of gas, and
Yeah.
all the fuel stations are like without.
Clothes. Yeah.
So, but also like how entrepreneurship or how entrepreneurial like Nigeria is. Like
Mhm.
everybody was
Mhm.
doing some type of business.
Mhm.
Like it
Mhm.
was just like business driven. Yeah, those were like the big main ones, but there's also like little ones as well, you know,
Mhm.
because everything was,
Yeah, it'll be everything, like,
yeah.
everything would seem new. Yeah, so on that note, do you think, or did you notice any like cultural similarities between Nigeria and South Africa? Do you think, there's anything that seems familiar
Yes,
to you?
yeah, definitely. Like especially cultural practices. You know, I always say to my husband because he's Igbo. I always say to him like Igbo people and Zulu people, which is where I'm from, are like same WhatsApp
Oh,
group.
really? Oh,
Zulu
really? In
men,
what sense?
like if Zulu men were Nigerian, they would be Igbo men.
Igbo men.
Very like stern, you know, very like
Okay.
traditional, very Zulu men also do polygamy. There's polygamy in Igbo cultures, but also I picked it up when we were doing our traditional wedding and that preparation. Like there's so many similarities. There's
Similarities.
so many. You know, it just really underlines the fact that we're all African
Yeah,
at
at
the
the end
end
of
of
the
the day.
day. Yeah.
You might do it a bit different to ours, but there were a lot of similarities.
And like, would you say that your visit has influenced you in any shape or form, be it negative, be it positive, be it humble, be it, like, is there any way that your visit has influenced you?
Yes, definitely a lot, because now I get to understand, like, when I came back, okay, so I'm a lover of nature. Like I love
Mhm.
nature. I love being around trees. I love
Same
camping.
here, looking
I
at the
went
sky, like, it's so beautiful.
in school, in high school, and primary school, every year end, like the kids would go camping and stuff like that. So I like that. And I remember in my early years of marriage, I used to nag my husband to go camping with me. And he always used to say, "Hey, why would I go camping when I grew up?" When I, like, I'm running away from the bush and you want to take me to the bush type
Yeah,
of
to the
thing.
bush.
Say those kind of things. And when I went to Nigeria, I literally got to understand the Nigerians that stay here, like where they coming from,
Yeah.
the shortfalls that side, the shortfalls this side. You know, like you asked before, what are the similarities? What are the differences? So it educated me a lot about Nigeria. It educated me a lot about the culture. It educated me a lot about, just like why Nigerians are so driven, because they very like Nigerians are very, very driven people, whether it's in a good light or it's in a bad light, but
Yeah,
at
in a
the end,
bad light. Yeah.
very like driven people. So
Mhm.
you get to understand things like that, like why they are driven people and what drives them. So it definitely, yeah, it did open my eyes a little bit more than what I've heard.
Yeah, you basically, like, you're understanding things firsthand, not
Yeah.
hearsay at this point.
Yes, not hearsay. Like there's a lot of people, especially on my TikTok, I would see comments like Nigerians saying, "Oh, there's money in Nigeria. There's rich people
Mm,
here in Nigeria.
mm.
You South Africans, blah, blah, blah." And then South Africans would be like, "Oh, what are you talking about when you don't have good roads and all of that and whatever." Both are right. Both
Yeah,
Nigerians money in Nigeria. Like
yeah,
I don't think I was ready. Like I don't
yeah.
think I was.
And then
There's money in Nigeria, and then the South African, they're right. Also,
the
there's
roads
bad
are
roads.
bad. Yeah, there's bad
Yeah,
roads. There's no
yeah.
stable
But
lights.
the problem is these people haven't visited to understand, and these people also haven't visited to understand, and they just kind of nitpicking on
Yeah,
hearsay. But
yeah.
yeah, it was just one of those situations.
If they don't like get to experience it, be it the South Africans or the Nigerians, if they don't get to experience both cultures, both countries, they'll keep on just speaking.
Yeah,
I
you
feel
will
like those are
obviously
like,
side on your side with your own country. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
really nice to see. It's a beautiful country. I think the only negative thing about Nigeria is just the running of the government and
yeah,
the
exactly.
infrastructure and the road.
Yeah,
To
like
the most
the
beautiful
government.
restaurants.
I did see that. Yeah, I did follow you on your
Yeah,
restaurant
I think
tours.
it's like the Yeah, I did a lot of restaurants, a lot of hotels. Like when you're inside, you literally like not forget that you're in Nigeria, but you feel like you're in like a European country or first or second world country, and then you step
Mm,
out and then you remember like, oh, okay, I'm
yeah,
I'm in
yeah,
Nigeria, you know. So
yeah.
if the government kind of pulled up their socks as much as the civilians
Hmm.
are doing, because the
Yeah,
civilians are doing the
exactly.
most. Like they are doing the most. Nigeria would be a beautiful country, or more beautiful than it is now.
Definitely, because you can imagine when you experience a good side of Nigeria, which is usually like a private owned, it's always private owned, right? And then you just imagine how much more beautiful this place would be if the governments were also, doing their own at the end, rather than just leaving everything. So in a nutshell, it's just horrible
Yes,
governance,
yeah.
horrible governance.
On the private sector, it was really nice to see a lot of black people. Like, never mind now the nationality, but it was nice to see like black.
What were the things you got to love about Nigeria?
I think the people definitely like
People always say this.
yeah,
Honestly,
like everybody is kind of there's like an uplifting spirit about the people of Nigeria.
mhm,
I really did enjoy that. And like I said before, like I enjoyed literally just hopping around restaurants and hotels and exploring. I went to the Nikkei Art Gallery. I did the canopy walk. I did
oh,
quite to the beaches. The beaches were also nice. I did Landmark Beach. I went to Landmark Beach. I went to the Good Beach. Um,
wow,
so I think, yeah, like experiencing places. Like
yeah,
I think I don't know what I expected when I went, but it
mhm,
was kind of like a good shock, to
mhm,
get there and find these beautiful, 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 places.
mhm,
So I did enjoy. I enjoyed the food as
mhm,
well. It was really, really nice. I didn't have too much of Nigerian food outside of the
mhm,
food that I already know.
mhm,
Um, but I also did have a lot of English food there. So that was nice that there was those
yeah.
options. Like in case
Oh
I didn't
yeah.
Nigerian food, I could still
Mhm.
have like a nice English option. So that was nice. Yeah.
Beautiful. I think you've already touched a little on this. Where you notice, Nigeria is lacking as a country, where you
Uh,
feel like, things could be fixed, like things could be better. What were the things you noticed that you felt like, there could be a better way to do this?
I think you know what, like I honestly, honestly, honestly believe that in terms of the people and the citizens, like the citizens are doing the most. These people are owning banks. There was the KFC equivalent, Chicken Republic. You get
Mhm.
like Chicken Republic, and what's that other one? Is it Mai Tai? Mai Tais or something like that. Oh, I can't remember now. But shopping malls, people were owning banks, shopping malls, restaurants, hotels. People like literally almost on every house, you literally see like 4 or 5 cars parked outside, to tell that, people were doing well. The houses were big. There was one house in particular that was in Banana Island that had a
Oh,
helicopter like on top of the
wow.
so in terms of the people were really
Yeah.
like entrepreneurial,
Industrious.
like
Yeah.
making business opportunities and
Mhm.
making it work. But unfortunately, yeah, the infrastructure and the whole government, or the
Mhm.
parts the government is supposed to play, they're not
Mhm. They're
playing.
not. Yeah.
If they were, like I said earlier, Nigeria would definitely be a much, much different,
Better place. Yeah.
so I think that's the biggest thing that I would change. I mean, like, why don't you have petrol in petrol stations? Or why is like, I couldn't understand why there's no cash in ATMs, and you've got, like, on one street you've got 10 POS people, so it's stuff like that where it's not really the civilians that can do anything about it, it's more the government. Yeah.
True. True. I hope this video goes round. Let this video blow up so they can see it. And
Well,
maybe
that's
a
the
change will come.
only difference between South Africa and Nigeria, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, the
The
government.
the infrastructure that South Africa has, Nigeria doesn't have. But the black dominance that Nigeria has, South Africa doesn't have. And that's just basically the biggest difference.
Yeah. On a lighter topic, which is food, I think it's a general notice, it's a general knowledge that Nigerians love food. Nigerian loves pepper. So, like, do you handle spice? How well do you handle spice?
Yeah.
Which Nigerian dishes can you say that you're a chef when it comes to cooking? And basically, which are your favorites?
When it comes to cooking, not really a favorite of the kitchen. But I'm from Durban, like I said. So in Durban, we have a lot of Indian cuisine, which
Mhm.
was also spicy. So I'm not afraid of spice. Um,
Really?
yeah, I'm not that afraid of spicy food. Look, I can't have it as much as Nigerians do. Like, you guys have it, like, all the time. So if I have it all the time, it does affect my stomach. But once in a while, I can deal with something chili.
Yeah.
Um, and it's tricky in my household. My husband doesn't really eat swallow. He doesn't eat pap and all that stuff. So we stick to, like, fried rice, jollof
Right.
rice,
Mm.
banga, and all of that stuff. So that's generally what I know how to cook. Personally, my favorite is egusi. I like egusi, but I don't know how to make it. I've never made it. I've never made
That's
it because
fine.
I
It
eat
could be a
it. So
tricky one.
yeah, I've never tried it. So if I'm going to a birthday or something like that around here, and
Mm.
a goose is on the menu, that's what I go for, because I know that's the only time I'm gonna have it, because we don't have it at home. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, we have basically come to the end of this beautiful journey. I really want to say thank you for gracing this, for honoring this invitation. I really also want to appreciate how very conversational you have been. Like, you're actually just giving us your story, and it's like I was there with you, honestly. And I feel like people who haven't visited would want to visit just based on your story. And I
Yeah.
believe that this is it's not the last time, because you still have a lot more to explore. Like, based on the things you mentioned, you
Really
still
coming
have a
back.
lot more to explore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this last question I'm asking, right? What advice do you have for South Africans, or even any African in general, that wishes to move to Nigeria, or to visit Nigeria, or even to get married to somebody from Nigeria, that and they having, like, reservation because of, like, the stereotype, the cultural
Yeah.
differences, and all of that? Like, what advice do you have for people like that?
When it comes to the whole stereotype and all of that, it's actually quite unfortunate, that because in every nationality, in every single nationality, there's good people and there's bad people.
The
You
bad
know what I
people,
mean?
yeah.
It just so happens that when it comes to Nigeria, the bad people kind of overshadow the good
Good
people.
ones. Yeah.
Everybody suffers under that one pot. So I don't know. Like I always say, just get to know the person. You know, like get to know the person. And in terms of coming to Nigeria, also I just wanted to get to see Nigeria for myself. So that's what I think. And then just in general, I think Africans should visit
Every
around
yeah.
every other African country. As South Africans, I know that we're not too open to other African countries.
Uh,
Which we should change, really.
yeah,
Because
definitely.
we are all essentially one.
Yeah.
As if we can just get over like pointing fingers and judging people and stereotyping, then we would get somewhere. And it is difficult to do because there's so much negative as well that you can't ignore. you know so yeah, it's sad for me as a South African married to a Nigerian, because I love both, I love both, and I saw it a lot on my socials that I actually didn't. I don't know. I think maybe I was ignorant to the feud between South Africa and Nigeria. You know, I will admit, I think I was
We
very
never
ignorant
never
to.
forget it.
Yeah, yeah, because I married into Nigeria, and I think that was kind of like, you know the only kind of experience that I had
You've
to
had.
the
Yeah.
Nigerian community. I've got a lot of friends in the Nigerian community. I go to a Nigerian church. So it's always been around love, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went to Nigeria, I realized, oh, there's actually this beef. There's beef. So I was like, oh, oopsie,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah. I mean, same here. Same here. I mean, like all my life, I was just living my life normal, knowing that South Africa is an African country. And then I put up my first video here that was based on South Africa.
Yeah.
And I saw the comment and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah. I was like, oh,
I
this is
was,
what's happening. It's like, oh, sorry. 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 So yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I was like,
yeah. It'll
oopsie.
hit you. You'll be like, where did that come from?
Yeah, yeah. Like I
Oh.
knew, because also like on my socials, particularly on my TikTok, if
Yeah.
previously before coming to Nigeria, if I posted something about being married to a Nigerian or whatever, South Africans would always come at me like, drug
Mm.
dealer, all of that stuff. So I was used to that.
Yeah.
I was used to that. So, but I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I think maybe I didn't think that Nigerians also feel some type of way about South Africans. I don't know what I was thinking, but yeah, now I know.
Ah, just,
Now I know.
just leave them in their territory because, like, I would think to myself, I'm just gonna disassociate because nah, that's not my energy.
Yeah, yeah,
That isn't my energy at all.
yeah,
But anyways, I'm really grateful for this. Thank you so much. And I feel like just to wrap things up, it all boils down to individual personalities. It all boils down to people being open minded and just intentional about promoting peace because I mean that's
yeah.
just, because in as
And
much as you're surrounded by like very negative information about a certain country,
yeah,
it's your decision to digest that and it's your decision to make that
yeah,
affect the way you feel about certain people from that country. So I feel
yeah,
like we just really need to understand that at the end of the day
yeah,
we are
yeah.
all Africans, like
Yeah.
we are under this one continent. Yeah.
Yeah. And we could learn a lot from each other. Like I learned a lot. I
Yeah.
feel like in Nigeria, when it also comes to not the educational system, let me say like the discipline that Nigeria has in their school. Oh, like I loved
Uh,
it. I was like, I wish South Africa could be a little bit more, like this,
discipline.
because simple things like the my nieces in school, they were not allowed to have any
Yeah.
five extensions in their hair. They just had to have their hair naturals, so stuff like that. Like I know in South Africa back in the day, when our parents went to school, you weren't allowed to either have hair, you had to have a short haircut or whatever. So it used to happen, but I feel like we've
With
urbanized,
time.
yeah, and
Yeah.
we've kind of lost, those, essence of good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and all of that. So it was nice to see that the
That,
kids,
yeah,
were so humble, so respectful, and it's all from the
schools,
schools.
the educational
Schools. It's
system.
not really the
Yeah,
parents, it's schools where here it's more the parents that have to instill that in you, and then the schools are very much about children's rights and all of that stuff. So we could definitely learn a lot from each other.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it could also like just give each country the option to pick and choose, right? Oh, this country is
Yes,
doing it this way. It's working out really good. It has positive
yes,
results. You pick and choose, and but I do believe that someday we're gonna achieve. It's my dream actually, and hence why I'm starting this channel. Hopefully, people are gonna be a lot more nicer to countries that they have had such horrible things about, and just be a
yes,
lot more, open-minded, and honestly just let love lead. Love leads
yes.
at the end of the day. So yeah, it's gonna happen very soon. In Jesus'
I'll
name.
join you on
Amen.
your dream. I'll join you from the
Thank you so
side.
much. Yeah, so please, we need the movement to, we need the movement to just
Yeah,
keep on spreading, keep on spreading. Anyway, thank you so much, Sena,
thanks.
right?
Sane.
Sane. Ah,
Yeah.
Sane. Yeah, thank you so much, Sane. Thank you so, so much. Please, can you drop your socials so that anyone who would love to continue your journey with you can obviously just subscribe to your
Oh.
channels?
So I'm basically just on Instagram, Facebook, and
And
Twitter. Instagram
okay,
is something in Sane or
okay,
something in underscore. Wait, let me try because now it gets confused. Something in underscore Sane. And then
okay,
on TikTok, something in underscore Sane Lee. And then on Facebook, it's Sane Iguanugo.
okay, okay.